The first thing we have on our agenda, we need to amend the agenda. We have a change order that came through for the Hogsett project, and I need to get a motion to amend the agenda.
I make a motion that we amend the agenda to add the change order number 5.
Do we have a
Second motion.
And we have a second. Do we have any discussion? Seeing we have no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now along with that, we now need to approve the agenda. And so do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the agenda with the change order
Do we have a
included.
second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to be at the board member comments, and any of our board folks want to comment?
Good evening.
Okay, Glenn.
Good evening.
Mr. Smiley?
I'm going to do the same thing I did last week, but a lot shorter. I like to always talk about the bills that are in the General Assembly that will affect us and the ones that are moving forward. Very quickly, House Bill 22 saw action this week, and that's about filling board vacancies. House Bill 227, increasing board per diem amount, passed the House this week and now is in the Senate. Senate Bill 15, background checks to alleviate the backlog, passed the Senate and now is in the House, which is very good. Number 4, Senate Bill 175, accountability changes and targeted support for improvement. KSBA supports this, and it promotes local decision-making, more decisions to be at the local level, which I think we all support. Number 5, Senate Bill 1, the School Safety and Resiliency Act. They're still working on it. Will be heard on the House, on the floor on Wednesday, which is good. Legislators know that significant funding is needed to implement the bill, and they have committed to do so in the next biennium budget. And that is really good news for safe schools. Just a couple more. House Bill 209, school building water fountains are going to be required if it passes. Not only water fountains at specific places, but places with water in bottles. Interesting bill for the schoolhouses. Senate Bill 3, principal selection and tribunal reform. And I think we know what that's about. House Bill 202, corporal punishment. There's a bill prohibiting the use of corporal punishment as a form of discipline in all schools in Kentucky. I have a couple thanks. Today, my computer forgot it was me. It just wasn't being nice to me. And I appreciate Paul Dean and Teresa coming to the rescue and getting my computer straightened around. Also, I appreciated the things that wouldn't come up. She took the initiative to bring a copy so I could have one tonight because my computer isn't working right. With that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Smiley. It's always good to keep up with the legislative things because everything they do affects us, and a lot of times it affects our bottom line. So they're not always as generous about giving us money as they are mandating things for us to spend money. I did have a couple events that I did go to. The Dollar and Cents event at Tolliver School. It was very well done by the Family Resource Center, and they gave the kids a basic idea of what it's like to earn so much money and then have to spend it. And so Mr. Goodman, I think, helped them spend it, I think. But the other thing that really struck me was the intercession that took place here at the high school. And every year we have a banner or a poster that is painted and presented to the KSBA board. And not only the board, but it also goes to our conference, which there's about probably total in attendance about 1,500. So every year the art department here takes on that project, and it's really well done. Natalie Grubbs is the artist this year, and she pulled the banner together. It's there on the screen. And she did a tremendous job. So on Thursday, I get the pleasure of actually getting to hang that puppy, along with 166 others that would be prominently displayed at the Galt House. So I do want to commend the art department and of course Natalie for their wonderful work. And it's always a pleasure to have Danville prominently displayed at the conference. So all of us will be there, and it's a great conference for us to learn and especially get ideas and things from other districts that are working for them. So it's a great time to be there. Does anybody else have any comments? Troy? Okay. All right, thank you all. Now we're going to have the superintendent update.
Yes, so bear with me, mine maybe a little bit longer than normal. But sorry. The first thing I want to mention, I think most everybody knows this, but I just think it's noteworthy to mention again, and that's that we at the central office for Danville Schools have been working together with not only Bull County Sheriff's Department, but also the Danville City Police Department. And we will, starting next year, partner with both of those agencies to provide our SRO services. And so we will have one SRO from the Danville City Police, and we will have one SRO provided by the Bull County Sheriff's Department. So I'm really excited about the joint effort with Danville Schools and both of those agencies to provide those SROs to our schools. Another thing I just want to mention, and most of you probably know this, but once a month I have lunch with a group of high school students, and each month that rotates, and I have a different group of students each month, and Sherry Satterley, our assistant superintendent, joins those lunches as well. And I learn so much from our high school students. The conversation and the honest and thoughtful feedback that they give us on how to improve our school system is really amazing. And then the positive comments that they make just about the things that they really like or that they see as beneficial to their education here in the school district also is very great. They've provided feedback that we've actually put into action from some of the meetings, and it's been really a great experience. And I think it does help our school to improve, to listen to our clients, which is our students. I'm going to be expanding those student lunches to the middle school starting next week. So on the 26th, we'll have a group of middle school students, and we'll rotate different middle school students as well to collect their feedback and their thoughts on our school system as well. So pretty excited about starting with the middle school students. The Danville Schools Education Foundation wanted to present an update this evening, and Phil Osborne, who is the executive director of the Danville Schools Foundation, was unable to be here, and so he sent me just a one-page update and asked me to read that so that you could have that information. So this is from Phil Osborne. First, a personal note of apology for not being able to join you this evening. I'm returning from Wyoming, where I've been visiting my newest grandbaby. If you have any questions about the report, feel free to contact me by phone or email, and he said he would respond as quickly as possible. The most significant matter to make you aware of is that the foundation will assume management of the Bill Paulum Memorial Father's Day 5K this year. After 4 years, the committee that spearheaded the event wanted to relinquish control. Some key points to know. The foundation has always been a beneficiary of proceeds from the race. About 50% of those proceeds went to the Education Foundation. Last year, that brought in $4,000. If we meet last year's return, that will mean $8,000 for the Education Foundation. We also have the potential to increase proceeds by expanding the sponsor base. The race will be renamed to make a clear delineation from the Bill Paulum 5K to be specific to the foundation and/or Danville schools. The event will be held at Millennium Park on June 15th, Father's Day weekend. The next meeting of our planning group will be Monday, February 25th at 4. The location still not determined. The week before the race, we are trying to tie a fundraising event to coincide with the 25th anniversary of the high school's forensic team. The team itself will have an anniversary celebration during the afternoon, and we are making an effort to tap into that in order to create a special fund within the foundation dedicated to forensics. The board has approved to bring back Dancing with the Stars, and when they say the board, they're talking about the Education Foundation's board, has approved to bring back Dancing with the Stars on November the 9th, 2019. More information will follow in the coming months. As you may have seen or heard, we are reinvigorating the Danville Distinguished Alumni Recognition. To date, we have 5 completed nomination forms with inquiries from a handful of others. Those inducted in the class of 2019 will be recognized with an event to coincide with homecoming in September or October once the calendar is finalized. We will make another announcement about the program before the end of February in the advocate column. Community outreach continues with other organizations that align with the Foundation's mission. They include Bull County ASAP, the Early Childhood Alliance, and the Department of Agriculture's Hunger Initiative. In addition, he, being Phil, I have joined the Danville Bull County Chamber of Commerce, Rotary, and in the process of joining Kiwanis. Social media for the Foundation outreach remains robust. During the month of January, they had 11 posts on Facebook, which resulted in 3,838 views. The most viewed posts were 1,670 regarding an effort to increase the number of Danville and Bate High School alumni providing updated information on our website. To date, 49 alums have updated their information for the Foundation's database. I attached this note for the board members, and the very last thing is a link so that alumni can update their information, and if you would share that out with anyone that you know that's an alumni so that they can update their information, that would be great. If you have any questions about the report that I just read, just feel free to email Phil, or I can get you any information that you might need. Next, an update on leadership standards. As you know, each month I bring to the board an update on the 7 leadership standards that I work towards each day as I work for Danville schools. And so I've posted 2 updates, February's update, so what's happened between the last board meeting and this board meeting. And then I also summarized from August up till now, since we're at the halfway point, so that you can just see a summary of all of the leadership tasks that I have been working towards. So feel free to just read that at your own time, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those. I've also attached my working calendar for you to see as well the dates that I work. One other thing, I've attached the Danville Boyle Early Childhood Alliance white paper for you to see, and this is research that has been put out by the Danville Boyle Early Childhood Alliance. It's a group that I belong to. Phil Osborne with the Foundation also belongs to that group, and you heard him mention that in some of the work that the Foundation is doing as well. And that paper is statistics on what the resources look like for our youngest learners in our county, birth to 4 years old. So it's some really good information, and I thought it was timely, the release of that white paper, with some of the information that we will be talking about with staffing in this board agenda. So if there's any questions on that, just please let me know. I was with the group and reviewed that information as it came out. Last thing really quick, I just want to give you an update on some of the sports. There's some great things going on in the Danville schools. Our girls, our high school girls basketball, had the best record in the region right now at 22-5. Judy Mason was named 12th Region Coach of the Year. Ivy Turner became the school's all-time leading scorer with over 2,000 points. Ivy also picked up another Division I offer from Northern Kentucky University. So congratulations to Ivy. For boys basketball, they've seen their best record in the 12th region as well at 26-4 and went 6-0 in the district. In fact, WKYT reported Friday that it is the best season for ads since 1981. Coach McKinney was also named 12th Region Coach of the Year and picked up his 200th career win at Danville. So congratulations to both of those coaches and both of those teams. Danville High School wrestlers, Pierce Haynes and Morgan Sully, Sully, yeah, had that one down. It's Sully, yeah, not Sully, Sully, yeah. Morgan Sully wrestled in the state championship at Kentucky Horse Park this weekend. Both of them did very well, advancing to the quarterfinals, so congratulations to both of those wrestlers. And then last but not least, we're gearing up. Spring sports have started practice, and we'll be competing here before long.
Does anybody have any comments or questions for the superintendent? Quite a report. Thank you, Dr. McDonald, for that. Now we're gonna have student recognitions, which I know we have a nice crowd for that. Leo, would you start off, please, from Hogsett School?
Let me look to see if my recipient is here. I don't believe he is, but I want to at least acknowledge his name and let you all.
We can start with Brian if you would like to.
Do you wanna
wait a few
wait?
minutes? We can start with someone else.
I mean, we can. I just don't know that he's going to be able to.
Go over there. Go over there so I can get you on camera.
We want your back.
And I think, Lynn's gonna work.
If you'd like to do Tolliver, I can go second.
No.
Okay.
I just, if you need more time, we're gonna let you have more time.
No. So the one recipient from Hogsett Primary is a student named Gage Ford, and he's a kindergartner, but he has received an award for having some artwork that was selected across the state and will be presented in a traveling art show. So this is quite an honor for him, and we're excited to have him be chosen as a recipient of this. The organization is called VSA Traveling Art Show to Mr. Gage Ford. So.
So Brian, you want to go next?
Yep, I can.
Yeah, so to take this a little out of character, we don't always recognize our teachers and staff. And it's one thing we should be doing, because there are a lot of things these folks do that I call them the unsung heroes that work on behalf of our school district and our kids. And it's important that we can't always do things, but if we can do a pat on the back and a recognition, I know it makes my day feel great. So anyways, I'm going to turn this over to Brian now.
All right, tonight we're going to recognize some of our staff for getting their Google certification for education. There are 2 levels, level 1 and level 2, and to get level 1 and level 2, you go online and you take some units, and then you have to take a 3-hour test. It's a time test. There's some multiple choice questions, and then there's some performance tasks that you do on the computer. So it's a pretty intense test. We have a total of now 22 Google certified educators in the district. One of the things we're going to do for them, and we've already done at a few schools, is we're going to hang a little sign next to their door. So as you're walking through the schools, you'll see who is a Google certified educator. We have a cadre of middle and high school teachers who are working toward that. We meet again tomorrow, and by the end of the year, we'll have some more. The people I want to recognize tonight were part of an elementary cadre, as well as some central office folks. I think one of my people are here tonight. Everybody's enjoying their day off, which is well deserved, but I'm going to announce this and we'll make sure that they get their certificates. The first person is Renee Lanigan, who teaches at Tolliver. Ellen Casey, 2nd grade teacher at Tolliver. Jennifer Holman, 4th grade teacher at Tolliver. Dorothy Contini, who's a kindergarten teacher at Hogsett. Those were our level 1, and then we had several people who did level 2. Kayla Stieber, who's a 3rd grade teacher at Tolliver. Ashley Roach, who's a 3rd grade teacher at Tolliver. Donda Kuykendall, who is a data coordinator for the district. Sherry Satterley, she'll come on up, assistant superintendent. Congratulations.
And Brian Gover won't tell you this, but he got his level 2 certification the same day I got mine.
All right.
It's a group effort. Sarah Bowman, who's a technology resource teacher at Tolliver. Kristen Welsh, who's a speech path at Tolliver. And then Cassie Dickinson, who is the library media specialist here at Danville High School. So we'll give these we'll make sure they get their certificate.
So we need to do a picture.
Oh, yeah.
We need to do a picture.
All right. Kristen,
You don't
can
get to
you
take
take a
the
picture?
picture. You have to be. He conveniently left his name off the list.
No.
Act like you know, a group.
I'll pretend that like that much.
Ready? All right. Might be a video instead.
That's all right.
Okay, and next we have Danny Goodwin's coming up to represent Tolliver Elementary and Intermediate.
So for those who don't know, I'm the assistant principal of Tolliver. I'm filling in for Miss Kelly, who couldn't be here tonight. She gave me 2 groups of students to recognize tonight. The first group will be the group of accelerated reader recognition students. Those students have reached over 200 points for accelerated reader. It really is just a way for us to tally how many books they're reading and how successful they are in comprehending that information. So,
Like comic book, right?
You can get some points for comic books too.
Oh, Spider-Man and all that good stuff.
And I'll read them. Well, we'll just do it this way. So first we have Allie Schomer. George Kelly.
Yeah, right here.
Congratulations, George.
Stand by.
June Goodwin. Landon Alford. Moira Kelly. I believe Moira's over 300, is that right, Moira? Yeah, so she's might be leading the school there. And Scott Anderson, I think Scott. You want to take their picture?
Get a little closer.
You got to squeeze in.
Yeah, come on a little closer.
Get into it.
Come on down here. I won't bite much.
Oh, okay, we're real close now.
Good work, guys.
Keep it up.
And the second group is a shorter group, and these are all from a 4th grade project, a couple different projects that were going on. 2 of the students, looks like, are not here. The first is Boone Wilson for an outstanding work on his biography project for Miss Green. The other one is Zaire Alberto Cortez. He made a bridge. A lot of the students in the 4th grade do these STEAM projects, and this project was making bridges. And they're all on display in the cabinets at Tolliver if you'd like to swing by and take a look. They're very outstanding, especially Zaire's. And again, Miss Allie Schomer. Allie's for her bridge too. Good work, Allie. Congratulations. You get your picture taken again.
There we go. There we go. Keep up, keep it up, keep it up.
Thanks to all. It's a great day when we have special recognitions for students and staff. And it makes our year go much better, and recognition is always a great thing. Next under the agenda would be personnel notification. So the superintendent has informed us of personnel actions which have been taken since the last regular board meeting. Have you all had a chance to look over all that? Okay, any questions or? I don't. But don't ask questions. And no, anyways, thank you. Now we're looking at the minutes of the previous meetings. I need a motion, please.
I make a motion for the approval of the January 3rd, January 22nd, and January 28th meeting minutes as submitted.
Second.
And we have a second. Have y'all had a chance to look all those over? Any questions or comments? Any corrections? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion is carried. Now we're looking at item number 6, which is policy revision for 9.36, which is the second reading. And I'm going to ask the superintendent to talk about this a little bit.
Yeah, so this is just the.
Hang on, I'm sorry. We need a motion to approve this.
I make a motion of the approval for the revision of the policy number 09.36 as submitted.
Okay, we need,
Second.
and we have a second. So now for discussion, sorry. Go ahead.
So this is just a updated policy on school-related student field trips. And so the majority of the policy is the same. What's been added into it is when we are looking at field trips that are of some distance, that they're out of state, and there are some provisions that are added in here if students are going to be traveling in private vehicles or with other parents versus on a school bus. Consider this one.
No, I got nothing to do with that.
So, Teresa, we'll need to reattach, so, Brian and I were
I've got
talking about
mine.
that earlier. Oh, and I have here, if you
Are
want.
they logged in as secure, like, because you won't get
Yeah, do you have that attached?
I have it.
Mine's up.
And it's actually it's the exact same one that we looked at in January. There were no changes between January's
Okay.
first read and this
Okay.
read. Same policy, absolutely no changes.
Okay.
And here's a hard copy if anybody's not pulling it up.
Okay, does anybody have any questions or any more discussion? We've had a motion to accept and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And motion is passed and qualifies for the second reading. Now we get into really the meat of it. Go ahead.
Item 7 is just review of the procedures. And so the procedures are the actual, like the templates and the forms that school personnel would fill out if they were going to take students on a trip. So there's not any action that is taken here. It's just for you to be able to look at and review those forms and templates that would be used. So if there's any questions about.
one thing on, I think it was on, one of them had a different county's name left in the verbiage.
We will do a quick proofread of the documents before we
Just
post them
didn't want
online.
it to
No.
get through.
And there's been multiple people that read it, so I guess several people.
It's the
read.
one on extended field trip request.
Okay,
There's a later on down there, so.
thank you, and we'll do another deep proofread before we post.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions or comments on the procedures? And I guess the main thing is we need to get this out quickly to everyone with the new policy. So, and it's extensive, it needs to be looked at. So it's not just as simple as sign off. And also especially our coaches, need to know also. And all of everybody. So thank you all for all the work that's been done on this. All right, next we're gonna have reports. Under 8A, we're talking about approving the breaks for the school calendar. Have you all had a chance to? So I'm asking for a motion on this.
I make a motion to the approval of the 2020-21 school calendar, fall, winter, and spring break dates as submitted.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. So have you all had a chance to look at the dates, and do we have some discussion, please? Okay. Seeing there's not any discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Item 8B is the 2019 and 20 school years staffing formulas. And I'm going to turn this over to Dr. McDonald.
You do have an attachment for the staffing formula, and these are the guidelines that the district directors and the principals will use as we make decisions on staffing. This is very similar to what it has been in the past. We pulled all the way back to the 2009-2010 school year and looked to see how this document had changed each year, and actually called several former employees. I know Teresa did a lot of research on this to see why some of the decisions were made in the years that we saw changes. And so this is very similar to last year, but with the restructure of our elementary schools, you will see some slight differences. So for example, you may see that additional positions, that Tolliver has 6 and Hogsett has 3 additional units, but that's based on the number of students. Tolliver's twice the size as Hogsett, so it will take more teachers to actually be able to have that schedule appropriate within that school day, that day pattern. So additional positions are used for things like the PE teacher, the fine arts teachers, those related arts activities. Where you see base teachers towards the top, those are state numbers. So those are the state base. That's what that's based on. That's not any decisions that we made. So I'll let you look over it and see if you have any questions about this.
I just have a couple comments. I'm glad to talk to Teresa today, because when I saw this, I immediately said, God, a couple of them I wish we could change, it'd be a little bit better. And then she explained that it was a state decision, there's no option, so done with that. The other thing is, the other part of it where you talked about 30% of the base teachers, and she explained in depth how there is money set aside depending on the number of students that come, and a separate section for, I believe it was music teachers. And I appreciate, once she explained the whole thing, it's really good and a good plan.
It is an excellent way, and it has worked for us for years. So, and I did get a little out of kilter here. We need a motion to approve the formula.
I move that we approve the formula.
And need a second, please?
Second.
And we've already, is there any more discussion from anyone else?
I just wish, I wish there was a way and the state numbers weren't so high for the classroom to student ratio, but again, that's out of our control.
Well, and rarely do we hit that number
Yeah.
either. Or, you know, that's just the maximum that would be allowed in a classroom per
Right.
state law, but we rarely hit that. And I'm not gonna say we don't, because there are, every now and then there's a class that may, but sometimes it's based on demand, like for example at the high school as well. I mean, you may have a class that's in high demand, so you have the max number, where you may have a class that has a lower number, like an advanced AP class, where there's just a certain number of students would take that. But overall in our elementary schools, usually we're not seeing maxing out of those numbers, except you may have a grade level every now and then that has a large number of students. But we don't want to max those out, and try not to.
Seeing we've had a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Now we're gonna, when I need to make a motion for new positions for effective July the 1st, 2019. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion, new positions effective July 1st, 2019, as submitted.
Second.
Okay. And now, any discussion?
Could you hold on just for a minute?
There's no names.
It's,
Yeah,
if you scroll down, it's on the bottom, because
Yeah, it goes down. There you go.
it's the same one we talked about at the work
So,
session.
yeah, this is the
Oh, yeah.
the additional pre-K position that would start July 1. But one of the things I wanted to just tie back, if you remember in my opening comments where I had the data from the Early Childhood Alliance, that's just showing the need for, that our students at that age have, and I think that Danville's making an effort to really address that need by adding a preschool classroom. So I'm really excited
about that, and encouraged that we're able to offer, expanded preschool, and I hope we can continue to find ways to expand it to more and more kids.
Thank you.
Any more discussion?
No.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, let's go to item 8D, which is approval of the BG1. We need a motion, please.
I make a motion for the approval of the BG1 for the college property as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Christie, do you want to speak on this?
Unless you have any questions, I'm good. There was a little bit of a number change on Brian's technology, came in a little bit less, and so I changed it on BG1, but evidently I must have sent Teresa the one I didn't change. So I was just telling her I had one a little more revised if she had time to upload it, but
Okay.
I've got it, so she'll upload the third revision,
Yeah.
has the fourth revision.
No, I think it's pretty straightforward. Of course, it's what you approved in purchasing the college, and the piece that Christie's talking about is on page 2, where it kind of lists some of the additional costs and has technology network system, and I believe your copy has what?
12,000 instead of 20.
Yeah, so it's actually, it came in less, which is great. So we were estimating 20 and it came in at 12,000.
And I added the cost of the survey that wasn't on that note, which was 28 or 3, I think I put 3,000.
Yeah, and that's an environmental assessment. No, the
So
actual
call
survey, yeah.
So, and then the assessment, those are the things we had to do
Yeah.
for KPE. put them on the BG one, so we get credit for them.
I'll get that changed tonight.
Okay, thank you. All right, we've had a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. So now we're going to go to item 8E, which is Hogsett primary change order number 2. Matt?
So there are 2 change orders.
Hang on just a second. So did we have a motion and a second on this?
Make a motion for the approval of change order number 2 that proposes change to the direct purchase order contract from Atlas Enterprises that results in the increase in the amount of $273 to the Mary G. Hogsett Primary School addition and renovation project.
Second.
Okay.
Okay.
Any discussion right now?
No.
Go ahead.
That one was part of, these 2 change orders kind of work together in a way that one of them's for the general contractor's change order, and then the one that you just read is just a little piece that's part of the direct purchase order of one of those items. So what I can do is run through there's 6 items on the general contractor's change order, which is the change order number 5.
Should I make the motion for that too, well before, or does it?
So this has always been a point of contention for me, are we approving these on an individual basis, or are we gonna approve these on a, that's what I thought, so,
It's going to do the little one first.
yeah.
Get your feet wet.
Yeah. $273.
Yeah, so that one was, purchase order number 33 relates to item 19, revision 1 of the change order number 5. It's the general contractor's money and the purchase order money is included. So you have to break out because they're different subs, you have to break out the change orders.
Well, can we go ahead and approve that and move down to?
Is there any more discussion? Seeing there's no more discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now we're gonna go to 8F, which is the Hogsett primary change order number 5. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion for the approval of change order number 5 that proposes changes to the Marilla Design and Construction contract that results in the increase in the amount of $7,405 to the Mary G. Hogsett Primary School addition and renovation project.
Second. Do we have a second? Any discussion from the board yet? Okay. Matt, if you would.
Okay. So this has 6 items included in it. I'll run through each one of them real quick, just give you a brief explanation of why we had to do what we were doing. PR 19 was, there were 7 doors that we were going to reuse instead of trying to save a little money. We tried to reuse doors wherever we could. But in order for it to work with the new hardware system, a new keying system within the project, we needed to make a few hardware changes to that piece. So the $42 included in this one is just the Marilla's part of that change order, and the actual material is in that previous one. PR 23, one of our new large classrooms in the kindergarten, we took an existing wall down to make that room bigger, and when they took the wall down, we realized, they found that there was about an inch difference in the floor from one side of the wall to the other. So this was just a little bit of extra floor prep to level that floor out. It was actually one of the walls that was from the original building in '57 to when they added the 4 classrooms in the 70s. It was the exterior wall originally, so that's why that floor lines were a little bit off. 28, we were keeping an existing corridor door, and when they started to do the demolition and the removing the ceilings and all that, they found that this existing door had actually a window above it, which is called a transom, and they had it covered up with a real thin piece of like panel board that you didn't really notice it was there before. When they took the ceilings down, we noticed it had that window above it. So this item includes putting metal framing and drywall to close that out, to kind of give you a good finished condition of that ceiling of that door. And then 29, there's several miscellaneous openings in the existing building where On a past renovation, they just covered it with the tile. We were coming back with brick to kind of patch, bring it back into the existing, kind of keep it more consistent with the existing brick. So we had to actually take a little bit more of the masonry out that was behind that tile in order to get that brick flush to the exterior wall. So that item covers some additional demolition to accommodate for that. Let's see. So 34, we added a bunch of new soffits in the classrooms to encapsulate all of the new HVAC that are running down the hallway. And we elected not to take the existing ceilings out in the job to save money as part of the budget. The existing ceilings of the school were like a plaster ceiling up at joist height. We elected to keep that in there because our ceiling was going to be below that. But in order to get these soffit framing installed, we needed to take out little strips of plaster here and there in each one of the classrooms in order to get that metal framing secured, more secured to the structure above. And that's number 34. And 35, the district requested that in one of the walls that we have between two resource classrooms, it was requested that we change it from a block wall to a metal frame drywall wall for more of a, if you ever want to take that wall down in the future, make the two resource rooms into a classroom, it's much easier to take that down. So this is just the change from going from a block wall to a metal frame wall. So, questions on any of those?
How's the project going in general? I don't know if it's the appropriate time to ask it.
I mean, it's like I said last time, it is a difficult job because it's being a renovation, but I was out there earlier, they're getting ready to put some insulation onto the preschool addition roof, so they've gotten that to a point where they can start putting a roof on that, so, and they're getting to the point on the addition by Waveland, so you get ready to put a roof on that. All the classrooms on the inside have been broken up, so you can actually, when you walk through there, you can see how each room, the size of what they're going to be. They've started, probably going to start casework. Well, they're actually going to do the flooring first, and then they'll start casework, because I want to make sure they get the flooring underneath casework in case whoever moves around, we get the flooring down first, but they're a little bit off on that. But the windows are starting to go in, which that's starting to make a big difference. If you go to the back side where the bus turnaround is, they've got most of those windows in with the glass. The only ones, the glass they don't have in is the operable ones. But those are really starting to take shape. So that's pretty exciting to see. They started that last week.
The new front doors there.
Yeah.
Open.
Yeah, and the way we broke in to actually make the new entrance, that's all finished. So when you walk in, the new entry, you can see all the way through the way the admin area is starting to take shape too. So most of the block work's done. So the walls are where they are now. There's a little bit of work here and there, but once they get the windows in, they'll start to start to condition the space, and the finish will start going from there. So they'll start to roll from there.
Okay, Matt, thanks so much. Any more discussion? Seeing we had a motion and a second, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Now we're going to be at 8G, and we're going to talk about the softball bid. I'd like to have a motion.
I make a motion for the approval of the bid from DC Kimball in the amount of $495,847.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
Four bids.
What's that, Lauren?
Does that look like we have four bids and that was the lowest bid?
And they're out of Somerset, is that correct? That company, which makes it nice, they're close. Part of the discussion is we are accepting the bids, so those are softball folks that are here. We're glad to get this project moving. There are a couple other things that we have to do beyond this, which is not a big deal. We're going to take care of it on Wednesday. We've called a special called meeting for Wednesday morning at 8:15 because we still have to approve the contract and an amended BG1. And all
and the BPO, direct purchase order on the lights.
direct purchase order, so that this all has to be done with board approval, and then it all goes to KDE. So if we miss any of this, literally, it could put us into March on getting these things approved, and that would really almost make it impossible to get grass on the field in time, under the schedule. So anyhow, we are making great progress, so.
Just one thing, I read our latest, I know we're doing this a little bit different, like we're using the BG1 and then we're doing a little bit of it in-house and things like that. And I read in our latest Kentucky Advocate that there's a lot of districts are going with naming rights for your district as another way to help raise funds. And I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but I've had the article printed out just in case you all didn't read it. I mean, I just think with the way our taxpayers are being, we're trying to be conscious with our dollars, this is another way to reach out and find a way to secure part of it that the district was going to have to pay out of our general fund. It might be worth looking at, to reach out to our community to say, maybe somebody wants to help us out with the scoreboard, or maybe somebody wants to, I know they already do it on the fencing with the boosters, but it may be a way to, other districts are.
Like UK did with the ball
Kroger,
field and with the Kroger field.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one district said they've raised $1.3 million by doing this. I mean, they're doing everything to their libraries and everything. I mean, you can go a little far, but it's worth thinking about as we do this project from the ground up.
Well, and on that, Lori, the fact that we're gonna be able to see these people this weekend and actually talk to them, how their procedures have been done and that kind of thing.
I mean, all it sounds like you really have to work with your board attorney to make sure, there's no conflicts of interest, or anything like that. But I don't know, it may be just another way to help supplement the revenue without getting in a shortfall later on where we have to go to, not that we're in a bad position, we're in a good position.
It makes sense to do that because when you have some property coming off tax rolls, like for a fire station, we need to think about alternative ways of getting funds in there, and that's another alternative way of doing it.
Right.
I agree.
Okay, any more discussion? Saying there's not any more, we've had a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Number 9 is the consent agenda. Do I need a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we approve all consent agenda items as presented with no discussion.
Second motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Do we have anybody on reserve for the public? Seeing that we don't have that, I need a motion.
I make a motion for the approval to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I wasn't gonna say discussion.